The Invisible Man. Can't help but think of that Queen song. The Invisible Man is a movie about a woman named Cecilia, who's played by Elisabeth Moss, who escapes from her very abusive husband, whose name is Adrian Cohen, a world leader in optics and a very, very master manipulator on the slimiest of scales. After hiding out for a little while, Cecilia gets news from her sister that Adrian has killed himself. She can go on and live her life now. However, strange things start happening all around Cecilia and in the worst situations imaginable. But the trouble is no one else is seeing these things happen but her. And to top it off, she's claiming an invisible man is doing all of these weird acts. Cecilia has to prove that she isn't crazy and that Adrian somehow found a way to do the impossible, turning invisible. And from there on, we have her movie. As I said in my off-the-couch reaction, this is one of the most creatively done movies I've ever seen, and I sincerely appreciated how it executed its premise. It was really fascinating to watch, and it made my jaw drop on a number of occasions. This movie trends more on the line of thriller rather than horror. That's one misconception I think that the marketing portrayed. Like I said, still executed that thriller premise to perfection. All I can tell you is that this movie has a lot to be proud of. Starting off with one, it's super creative. One is coming from multiple other reviewers who I've seen review this movie, and the second is one of my own original notes. One that's coming from the other reviewers that I also noticed. This movie does a really good job of just utilizing the camera position in order to make it look like something is there, even though we can't see it. So for example, there's a scene where it utilizes the entire kitchen space when Elisabeth Moss is only standing on one side and the other side is completely empty, thus giving off the impression, or at least making us think, is there somebody standing there? And it kind of plays that mind trick with you throughout the movie, and it does this in so many ways. It does it consistently, and it really gets you to think, and also go a little bit crazy along with Cecilia as all this stuff is happening. Even if nobody was there at all, it would still make you think twice, like, okay, is somebody watching her right now? It really puts you into this empathetic place with Cecilia and how she feels, and I thought that was super effective. Moving into the second note that I noticed playing off of that, this movie utilizes a lot of silence. The movie tries to make you feel isolated along with Cecilia, and the best way to do that is to have absolutely no sound at all. It's the equivalent of just being alone and sitting there and feeling as alone as possible, which a lot of times can be achieved without any music around the house. For example, if you're walking around your house with no music and it's quiet and it's dark, you feel a lot more lonely, and a lot of times to combat that loneliness and that feeling of unease, you might turn on some music. I know I do it just about every day if I'm in the kitchen making something. We'll say this movie is silent but deadly, and it was a really clever way as to making this movie really thrilling without using jump scares, which I really appreciated. Also, this movie really keeps you on your toes. Adrian being a master manipulator is brought up quite a few times in this movie, and they really lean into that because they use that to sort of steer the plot into many different directions. A lot of them can be unexpected as well. Just when you think you have an idea of what's going on, something crazy happens, and after a while you start actually second guessing your own points of view as to what's going on and how the movie's going to turn out, and you wonder if Cecilia is actually going crazy or if she's really telling the truth. It's mind-blowing, or if the movie's just trying to trick you into thinking a certain way. A big shout out to Elisabeth Moss and Aldis Hodge in this movie. I thought they were both excellent, especially to Elisabeth Moss. She does a really great job of selling this idea that Cecilia is in fact going insane trying to prove her case to all of her loved ones and friends and family, enough to drive anybody nuts. Aldis Hodge plays a father cop in this movie, and I thought he really utilized that role quite well, and he's also sort of Cecilia's right-hand friend. They both had really great chemistry, and I think they really made this movie. However, there's one nitpick I want to give this movie that I didn't like so much. Quite a few different logic holes that I noticed, that characters try certain tactics in this movie that certainly would not pass off in real life situations or really in this movie world, and I kind of questioned why they tried throwing some of these things in. It just didn't make a ton of sense. It didn't completely kill the movie for me or anything like that, but it was just a little distracting. So my friends, I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. It was a great movie, and I certainly recommend it. It's on HBO Max right now if you want to give it a watch. Friends, have you seen The Invisible Man? If so, what did you think of it? You know, in the comment section let me know. Thanks so much for watching another Bankrupt Hippo movie review. I've been Bryce, and until next time, have a great day.